There we go. The microphone wasn't even turned on. Awesome. Welcome to Chord Dave Live number 75. My voice is broken still, so yeah, this is gonna be fun. So as you can hear, I sound very unusual. So I will be sticking around for about an hour. That's probably the most I can give for today. Bearing in mind that I also have this cough that comes and goes at the minute, which I'm blaming NAMM for, and we'll see how it goes. So hopefully you can all hear me now that I've actually turned the microphones on. And yeah, we'll jump into all of the comments and chats and things. Thanks so much for being here. If you've got questions about going to NAMM, whether it was worth it, what was the best part, who did I meet, all that sort of stuff, get them in and just tag me at 3Chord Dave so that I make sure that I do read them out. And we'll see how we get on. So anyway, we will jump in and see how we're doing. With I presume a lot of the usual folks. But if you are new here and this is your first 3Chord Dave Live, make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you hit the notification bell too. But you have to be subscribed at least a minute before you can chat in the live chat here. But once you do, just make sure you say hello, and we will I'll make friends with you. It'd be great. So let's see. We got Scott Bugfoot, of course, is here, which is great to see. Butterfly Effect, good to see you too. And Ryan, always great to see you. And Al as well. Good to see you. Marsha's here. T minus 10 minutes till we spent Dave's post-NAMM guitar fund. T minus 20 until Dave has a very long nap on camera after such a busy couple of weeks. It has been a crazy couple of weeks. And that included like a scheduled vacation time where I just basically shut off and went off and had a little time to myself and didn't do anything, didn't work on nothing. And, and soon, like my first day of that, the voice went and I was like, all right, great. I mean, you've never walked into a bar and tried to ask for a beer. You may have, but you try to ask for a beer and it comes out like, which is pretty much what happened every time I went for a beer. Anyway, it's been a fun week or two. Muddy H. Joe says, I hope this new guy is better than TCD, which earned him the channel ban. Don't know why he did that, but there you go. There's no new guy around here. What are you talking about? That's just, you just put up my mediocrity and that's it. Glenn Bailey's here. Good to see you, Glenn, as it always is. And Muddy says, you forgot to say hi to me, Glenn. Hey, Muddy, don't be going getting offended. All right, just calm down. Don't be leaving the old community just because you got your butt hurt because Glenn didn't say hello. All right. Anyways, I really have to not say things too much. But anyway, good to see both of you, Glenn and Muddy, and everyone else. Yeah, I think we're all set up properly, by the way. So Dave, the producer. Oh, I don't know about that. What else have we got here? Just checking a couple of things. All right, yeah, we're still running. That's good. Who's hosting the show tonight? Does Dave still have a sore throat? It's not really sore. It just can't talk. So yeah, that's. But yeah, I'm doing my best. I'm doing my best. We'll get through it. I think Muddy should take over for the night. Al, come on. I actually asked Muddy at one stage to do something on the show, and he said no, that he's not good looking enough. He couldn't compete with my good lookingness. So there you go. That's all. I mean, that's the conversation the way I remember it. So, anyways, rolling on from there. Glenn says, "Is it the singer from Steel Panther? Him and Dave seem to get along really well." Let me tell you, Michael Starr, what a man he is. Super, like the nicest guy probably I met at NAMM, and I met some really nice folks. But dude was super cool, and yeah, he was like, let's do a video together. So yeah, we were chatting for a bit. It was pretty cool. I enjoyed hanging out with them for a little bit. Making that video was very fun. Muddy H2O says, Glenn, I posted a picture in the group a bit ago of who tonight's host will be. I need to remove the power that you have to post pictures in that group. Scott Brower says, did you all see the Squire leaks a new Strato Telecaster for me? Yeah, they were leaked by a retailer this week, and again, I would have had a video this week, but I can't talk properly, so that would be weird. So yeah, some very nice paranormal stuff coming from Squire. I believe it's only 5 or 6 that have been leaked, and there's another 3 or 4 apparently in the range coming soon. So yeah, I'm not sure the exact release date either, but there's some very nice stuff. What you're talking about, I think they called it the um, Stratosonic, I think they called that. It was a pretty cool looking thing. Very SG like vibes to it as well. So I thought that was pretty cool. It's got definitely, and it's a Squire, so it's like I think we're looking at about €400 for it, maybe $400. So it should be fun, like the rest of this show. Glenn Bailey says, Dave learned a new chord at NAMM, and now he can't remember how to set up the show. I literally, everything's just come out of my suitcase today, so I was like, because everything that I do record the show with had to come with me, or film the show, or just stream the show, was in my bag. So yeah, it was just putting it all back together after it hadn't moved for like a year. So yeah, it was a bit tricky to remember where all the cables and everything went. 30 seconds before we went live, the camera wasn't plugged in to the computer, which makes a difference. There we go. But yeah, I didn't learn a new chord. Who has time to learn chords, despite what these guys want us to do? Chord cards with chords on them. That's never been done before. Muddy says, "Tis in the comments of the live stream link I posted." Oh, it's one of those links. Oh, by the way, it's Saturday night, so it is still Saturday night. We're still drinking beer despite having a weird voice. So there's San Miguel in a Hop House 13 glass. Cheers to all you. Thanks for joining me on the NAMM coverage. And I did expect there to be more, by the way, but yeah, it just kind of broke down, so I wasn't able to put it all out. But hey, it was a time. We'll talk about it a little bit later. And cheers, sláinte to all you. Anyway, okay, that was long awaited. Muddy H2O with the super chat says, Dave must be a pro at calling in sick to work. His acting like he has a hoarse voice is quite convincing. How Ferris Bueller of him. Well, just because I've taken 70% of my sick days this year already doesn't mean that I'm a pro at calling in sick to work, sir. But thank you for your super chat. I do appreciate it. And if my boss is watching, I've never fraudulently called in sick to work. Anyway, he says, Muddy is officially replacing Dave today. I mean, he's welcome to anytime. Something's uploading equals I'm putting my pants back on. We've had this conversation before about whether pants are or are not worn during the live stream. I'm not going back over it again. You know my position on pants. So anyway, let's just leave that where it is. He's got a desk though, says Marcia. He won't need pants. See, exactly. Anne is here. Great to see you, Anne. And TGWH says, how's it going, lads and lassies? Well, sure, we're still alive and kicking, TG, so thanks for dropping in. Great to see you. There's William Forrest is here. It's good to see you, William. Muddy says, the desk is already in therapy. I should go easy on it. All right, listen, the desk is doing all right. There's actually 3 desks here, so it's a big desk arrangement. But it's, they're all doing fine. They get their days off. Ben Allmark's here. Hola, amigos. He says, good to see you, Ben. Hope you're good. But he can't believe this YouTube diva makes us sit here and watch a countdown timer. It's your choice to watch it, man. That's I just put it there. Nobody makes you do nothing. So, but I do appreciate you. I love you guys so much. So I just want you to know when I'll be on screen. I got things to do. Every second counts. Benny Larson's here. Great to see you, Benny. I hope you are doing well. Ben Allmark says, "Hope all you Rugrats are alive and well." Just a bit, just about. So yeah, we're doing our best. We're doing our best. Um, Andrew Collins says, "NAMM was totally disappointing. I think it only going to get worse. It's becoming too expensive for the big manufacturers. Get more bang for the buck by selling direct." Um, so yeah, I mean, we can talk about that. I mean, NAMM for me was two things. It was really super awesome, amazing, and wonderful show, and I was so excited to be there. And it was disappointing. The other thing is that it was disappointing. And I spoke to other people there, and they said the same thing. Like, it was great to be at NAMM. It was great to be seeing people. It was great to be back at for people who'd been before. It was great to be back at NAMM. It was great to have NAMM back, but there was glaring uh, absences. And in for those of us there for guitars, it was um, Gibson, Fender, and PRS. There was people at the show who didn't know Gibson, Fender, and PRS were not going to be there. So yeah, there was a lot of surprise at that, and there was a lot of people pissed off about it. Um, for me, I like it was the first time I'd ever got to go to NAMM. But I always wanted to go to NAMM, like a lot of you guys. And it's it's one of those things I wanted to do to tick off the box. So it was exciting to me. But yeah, it was a little bit disappointing. There was some great stuff at it, and it was some great there's great contacts, but there's also a lot of chips and factories there. And I say that with no disrespect. There's a lot of Chinese factories who will sit there with you and say, "How many do you want? You want to buy an exact copy of a Les Paul? No problem. We can do that for you. You want to buy SGs? You want to buy Telecasters? We can do those for you. No problem. You tell us what you want it, what made of, everything else, we'll do it." They're there to do business, to take orders. And there was a lot of them. And that was a big section, as you saw on the live stream I did. I'm not sure how clear you could see it. I did my best to get the best live stream 5G operator, but it wasn't great. I understand that. Um, but yeah, it was a bit disappointing. Like, I'm not going to say it wasn't. It was disappointing that, and I spoke to a gentleman who'd been to NAMM since the 80s, everyone since the 80s, and he was saying to me, he was staying in the same hotel, and he said that firstly, it being in April meant a lot of the big brands had already released the stuff. A lot of the big companies had released a lot of stuff this year, and so it was less flashy than it had been in the past. I would agree with that. And then he said having NAMM without Gibson is weird. Like, the whole second floor is usually Gibson, he says, but now it wasn't. It was ESP were up there, and PV, and a couple of other things going on. It was spread out weird. I thought it was difficult to get to some things and so forth. Um, excuse me, but yeah, my overall summation of going to NAMM is that it was great, it was wonderful, it was exciting, and it was a brilliant experience, and it was a little bit disappointing. And I hope that the big boys go back next year, because yeah, you're right. It's easier for them to go direct and have their own releases. And the thing that they've figured out in the last year or two is that they can put out a video and say, "These guitars are out today. Go buy them," and people will go buy them. And people like me make videos for them, leaking information that, I mean, look, they don't really. I figured out they don't really care about that, because they're like, okay, people are now ready to go buy that guitar on that day. Um, so yeah, they can. It's easier and cheaper for them, but the spectacle of it and the excitement in the industry and the YouTubeness of it and everything, I think it should be a thing. So I hope in January that it's back to what it was. I hope the big boys go back. I hope everybody is returning and it's a full NAMM show again. Will I be going back in January? I don't know. I'm thinking about it, but we'll see. What I did like is that there was a lot of happy, smiley people, and it was a cool vibe for the entire weekend. So very cool stuff. Didn't get to see everything I wanted to. Didn't get to attend all the events I wanted to, but I got to meet cool people, and that's the big thing. Ryan says, "Stay away from those rooms by the hour hotels." Yeah, that is. I mean, that is great advice, but that's not what happened. I promise. Um, Al says, take 2 shots of Southern Comfort and you'll talk fine. I've had a few of those already since this started, and that hasn't helped. But it's a good idea. Benny says, good evening to Al, indeed. Mars says, disappointing. Did you watch the same NAMM as the rest of us? I get that point too. Like, NAMM wasn't disappointing to everybody, but as an experience of attending, I think it was a little bit, because you're missing out on what you'd seen in the past. Don't get me wrong though, there was some great stuff at NAMM. There's some amazing booths and guitars, and it was a great experience. I'm not taking from that at all. Just that it was disappointing in terms of the big boys not being there. That really, it felt like it was missing something actually on the floor. So there you go. But I got to meet Steel Panther, so a pretty good deal. Scott says, I only need rooms by the minute. Well, there you go, man. That's good for you. Glenn says, is that $2 in the background? You owe me. I mean, good eyes, Glenn. But no, the $2 I owe you is a different $2. Um, that's still at work. Muddy says, there hasn't been enough evidence that you actually went to NAMM. Well, I mean, I did a live stream for over an hour showing that I was there, I promise. And there's 2 other videos. One of them went up on YouTube, and one of them only made it to Patreon, because 2 things happened. I was planning to do more voiceover content on the videos that I had taken with NAMM, around NAMM with the camera, but it got to a point because I couldn't record voiceovers, and I still haven't been able to record them. And I think the moment's passed. Everyone has seen everything that was at NAMM. So I don't think it's worth my while posting those videos. That I am going to eventually get around to doing an actual video of my takeaways from going to NAMM for the first time. I'm hoping to be able to record that tomorrow. I don't know if I will. But we'll see. And I was going to do a video about the Squire leaks as well. But again, everyone's already seen them now, so we'll see. But I was at NAMM, I promise. It was quite an experience. You can ask Stephen from West Coast Guitars. He was the first person I met at NAMM, and he said he called out to me. I wasn't even aware of what was going on around me. I was trying to find out where to go get my badge. And he called out to me. It was super cool. So shout out to Stephen at West Coast Guitars and in Vancouver. Go and check them out if you have the time. Very cool to see him around NAMM as well. TGWH says, how's it going, Dave? Well, we're still going. So yeah, it's all right. It's not too bad. Marge says, there was a lot of amazing stuff. Still had many big brands. Don't need the big 4 to have success. It was a healthy showing. I mean, there are a lot of people who are gone home very happy from NAMM. It was a good show. It did feel like there was something missing there, and there was people. It was mentioned a lot. There was a lot of people saying, it's weird not having Gibson. It's weird not having Fender. Not so much PRS, they weren't mentioned that much, but Gibson and Fender were mentioned a lot, like them not being there. So especially people who'd been to NAMM a lot over the years, they were like, there's just something not right about them not being there. But everyone was putting it down to the fact that it's in April and not in January. So everyone's pretty much hoping that they'll be back for January. So I'm sure there are talks being had in the background there to make that happen. So we'll see. Let me see. Andrew says, yes, I did. None of the big manufacturers there. Did you pay attention? Well, I mean, there was big manufacturers there. Ibanez, Rickenbacker, who else was there? Donner, Chapman. Cream Guitars is a very interesting one. They're coming out with some new guitars. We're going to do some content about them soon. As well, the boutique stuff was really cool. But yeah, there was that lack of like super announcements that you always got with Fender and Gibson at NAMM. So either way, it was still worth going to the show. It was still a good show. It was still fun, great experience. But the big 3 companies for me, PRS, Fender, and Gibson, all being missing was it took away from the experience. And I think a lot of people have gone home thinking that same thing. Glenn says, nice Norms t-shirt, Dave. Thanks, Glenn. Appreciate it. So Scott said, or hang on, where am I? Scott Brower agrees with Marcia. Richard Clark says, I'm not here. Well, wish you were here, Richard. Yeah, it's always better when you're here. Marcia says, I didn't go to NAMM, of course, but I've seen a lot of footage from YouTubers and regular folk. Very few people had bad things to say. Most people had a great time. Even the Mr. Critical KDH and Six String. Those guys were running around all over the place. Everywhere I went, I saw them. But, excuse me. Yes, they... like now, I'm not saying anything negative about NAMM, by the way. I am seeing... I was seeing a lot of good stuff, but it's just, as I said, that feeling something was missing. That is what I mean by disappointment. I think that's what a lot of people mean by it as well. No one wants to buy no-name guitars. Well, I mean, there was just not the big three or four. But yeah, you're right. There was a lot of like Sunsmile, whose name was wrong on their own sign. Someone must have got executed over that. But anyway, Glenn says, did you have a chance to spend any time at the Dunable guitar booth? Very little, because it was packed all the time. Anytime you went near it, it was jam-packed with just lots of people. So I got about 5 minutes. I think I have footage of it somewhere, which I'll throw into my video if I can when I talk about NAMM this week. But it was cool. Like, their guitars are very cool. I think there's some very nice V's as well in there, and yeah, just overall they were very popular. So it was very hard to get into their booth. They designed it in a way to make it kind of difficult to walk around for some reason. So it was hard to get into. But like they had a limited amount of space, I guess, and they had to do their best to fit everything in. But it wasn't the most easily accessible stand or booth on the show. But I did see it. It's very cool stuff. I would definitely like to check those out a little bit more. Marsh says ESP Ltd, Ibanez, Martin, Fishman, Taylor. No name, you say. The truth is, like look, as I will say, people who were at the show, yeah, those brands are there. The big boys are Gibson, Fender, and PRS. Those are the big three. And if those aren't there, people will say the big boys are not here. And to a lot of people, that's disappointing. It's like, if you were going to a car convention and Ford and Chevrolet and Mercedes were not there, you'd be like, where the... And it'd probably be like, who cares? All the other car companies. But you know what I mean? If you've got three favorites and they're not there, you would be like, this is kind of not what I came for. So I do get it. It was a good opportunity, though, to find out about other guitar companies. And that's definitely what I took away from it, for sure. Glenn says, it's too late. Take all the power money now holds to resist is futile. Yeah, I know it is. But hey. Ryan says, I ended up ordering one of the USA Greenie guitars. I have no clue when it'll arrive, though. Interesting, Ryan. Yeah, I really wish I got time before now to make a video about those, because I have thoughts, and I'm not going to go into it right now. But actually, if you're going to get one, it'd be interesting to know your thoughts on it when you do receive it, because my thoughts on it are, they should have sold the pickups. They should have just been like, here's the Greenie pickups, and you can put them in anything. But anyway, we'll see. Hopefully you will enjoy it. I mean, it looks cool, but yeah. And also, if they're going to sell it as a Greenie, they should have put it in the same Greenie case that they're selling with the other reissues. I feel it would have been a nice extra touch, especially because you're paying so much money. But there you go. It's been one of those weird releases, I think, but more of those are coming from what I hear so far. Muddy says, while I certainly haven't missed you, I'm sure everyone else has. Welcome back, Sir David. Geek Lord's views have already begun to decline. Well, Muddy H.O. with another super chat. Thank you so much, sir. I do appreciate you. And you might not have missed me, but I miss you, sir, as I have missed every member of the Chord Dave community, as I always do. Well, most of you. So let me see. Some of those no names make much better, more interesting stuff. I love the big four brands, but you know, there's a big world out there. So yeah, but so okay, so you big four, but it's like Fender, Gibson, PRS, right? And yeah. So who's the other one? So because those are the three that were missing, that everyone was talking about. Let me see then. Where else? Where's that after jumping up to? Just remember, guys, we're probably only going to get a full hour out of the show tonight, so I'll do my best to get through everything. And with that in mind, if it's super important, do put the tag at 3Chord Dave in front of your comments so I can try and get to it as quick as I can. Badfink 2 is here. Great to see you. Badfink, hope you are well. Rock and Roll Rodents, I greet you all. And our half voice, Sir David. Well, thank you so much. Yeah, half voice is right. I can already feel it. You know, tomorrow's going to be a slow day. Let's put it that way. Thankfully, I have a job where I don't need to talk to people. So Monday morning, I can just, roll into work and type away, and not have to actually use my voice. Marcia says, Benny, most keep saying it's Gibson, Epiphone, Fender, PRS. I don't know why they separate Epiphone and don't include Kramer, Squire, etc. I've been echoing that. People are saying, well, on the NAMM floor, everyone was saying the big three. So the big three aren't here. So that's weird. So that's what I've always gone with. And I have never heard the big four. So around here, let's just call it the big three, because Fender and Squire are the one, Gibson and Epiphone are the one, PRS and PRS SE are the one. So so yeah, we'll just go with that, because I will get confused. But yeah, when it comes to that, like look, there's no denying. Yes, there's great guitars being made by companies other than the big three, but the big three not being there took away from NAMM. It did. And there was people who arrived at NAMM like, where's Gibson? Like, well, they're in Nashville, my friend. So that is why people are saying it was a little bit disappointing. I didn't think it was disappointing from a show point of view. It was a great experience. It was something cool, but there are people who went to see Gibson and Fender and PRS and then didn't get them, and they were like, what's going on? Anyways, we'll continue for now. Dave needs a shot of top shelf with Irish whiskey, honey, and apple cider vinegar. That'll cure him. I mean, look, it's worth a shot. I don't have any apple cider vinegar right now, but yeah, for sure. Let me see. Benny Larson says, okay, all right. Let me see what we got. Glenn says, okay, pants off. It is. And Glenn, we've had this conversation before. Where I'm not backtracking on that one. Andrew Collins says, Charvel is also owned by Fender and they weren't there. That's true. Glenn says, I've got apple cider vinegar. I mean, you're a bit far away, to be quite honest, with you there. Let's take a quick break, because some of you might be watching ads, apparently, according to YouTube. How did that happen? I didn't touch anything. It wasn't my fault. So it just came up, said some viewers are now getting ads. So thanks, YouTube. That's great. So if you just got an ad, you can thank YouTube for another new feature. Anyways, hopefully you're back, and let's move on. Emily HO says, so now that you can speak, why Gibson sucks? They weren't even at NAMM, even though we don't know if you were either. Sir, you know I was there. You saw me on video with Michael Starr from Steel Panther. So there's no denying I'm not that much of a editing genius to make that work. So yeah, there you go. But thanks, I do appreciate it. Glenn Bailey with the super chat says, let's be real here. The big three is Muddy, Scott, and Glenn, and maybe the guy with the rubber band in his beard. Well, hey, there's only one big daddy around here, and then the other three of you can be whoever you want. But thanks, Glenn. I do appreciate that so much, my friend. I gotta try and control the beard somehow. I don't know. It's driving me insane lately. So, yeah, or I don't know. It's the band or just I don't know. I don't know what else to do. Batfink 2 says group hug time. I don't know. Some of you I feel would take advantage of that. So, Corey's here. Good to see you, Corey. He says, "Hey gang, hope everyone has got a great week. Don't forget to hit all the buttons for Dave." Indeed, and also another cool thing you could do for Dave is purchase yourself a three chord Dave sticker because that helps support the channel and the show and the three chord Dave. You can also get a three chord Dave mug if you want to, drink coffee or tea or alcohol, but less suspiciously while you're at work and like a video call, conference thing, a meeting at work. You can drink it out of your three chord Dave mug and tell your friends and colleagues where to get them. You can also get a right-handed three chord Dave t-shirt. Not that kind of right-handed, like a right-handed guitar player one. And then if you're left-handed, that will cost you an extra penny because left-handed guitars are more expensive. So check those out. The links are in the description, I believe, so you can click on those and support the channel and your three chord Dave obsession by doing that. Let's see, where are we now? We've got half an hour or so to go. Excuse me, guys. Occasionally I can't help it but cough because I don't know. It's NAMM tracks, I believe, is what they call it. Marge says, looks like people don't do their homework before they buy tickets to an event. There's a lot of busy people in the industry who went to the event as like it's just the next Thursday and the next Friday and the next Saturday of their work week, and they don't have time to do all that. But yeah, there was an awful lot of there's an awful lot of not everybody. There's a lot of people, and there's other things than just seeing the booths. There's a lot of interesting talks and events were going on as well. So not everyone was there just for those reasons. Andrew Collins said exactly what NAMM was March 22 talking about. It was totally disappointing. I can understand that point of view for sure, Andrew. I do understand it. I thought it was pretty fun, but definitely missing something. That's what I would say. Okay, Ben says, Dave, I'm guessing you never made it to Norm's. I did, and I didn't get to make a video at Norm's, and the reason being, because when I walked in, they just opened on Saturday morning, and by the way, I'm just going to say it, every business should open before 11:30 on a Saturday morning, but there you go. Because there's not a whole lot to do in Tarzana when you get there 2 hours beforehand, other than walk around and go to like stores and stuff. So that was a little bit weird. Norm's is a lot smaller than I thought it was going to be, and it was like they had just set up, and they weren't really in the you can film around the store kind of mood. So they were like, you can take pictures, but like no video. So that was okay. I didn't take pictures because I was like, well, fuck you. But I did buy a couple of shirts and I looked at some very nice guitars. Yeah, it was fun to go up there though, and I didn't stay too long, maybe 15-20 minutes, and then headed out because again, I couldn't really make a video. I saw all the cars they drive. They must make a lot of money. That's all I'm going to say about that. Anthony Tornell is here, says hello. Oh, good to see you, Anthony. Hope you're doing well. Phil Segura is here, says JP man, which is good to see. Hope you're well, Phil. And let me see, what else have we got? Andrew Collins says Gibson and Fender. Yep, they certainly weren't there. And we did know that before going in. I had mentioned a few weeks before on the show here that they weren't going to be there. Scott Brower says, how would anyone not know Gibson and Fender wouldn't be there? Well, a lot of folks were going, maybe they have an interesting guitar, but it's not their main focus for going to the NAMM show. And when they went, they're like, why the hell aren't Gibson here or Fender here or something like that? Maybe they're just used to them being there, even though they have a secondary, like a primary reason for being at NAMM that's nothing to do with guitars. It's people like that who maybe aren't big guitar people, or it's not their main focus. That would be my guess. Scott says Gibson, if not already, then will soon stop marketing altogether to people who are not rich. They didn't go to NAMM because nobody there was buying what they wanted to sell. It's an interesting take, Scott. I think we're going to see some very interesting moves from Gibson very soon. I kind of think they're waiting to see the fallout from NAMM, whether people are bitching about it or not. So we probably will be bitching about it. But yeah, they because they're doing their own thing and it's working for them. So we'll see. But I know the NAMM board are trying to get them to go back as a big thing. Like they're pretty much going to get them to do it, like pay for them to do it, or let them do it for free when everyone else is paying. So, anyways, we'll see. You know, it's Gibson. They have their own. It's like Gibson. It's Gibson's like the kid who just about made the football team and he thinks he's the shit, even though he's like basically just on the team on his family's reputation. That's exactly what's going on. You know, Gibson really need to up their game. They're doing it in some parts. Like they're definitely doing it in, as far as I'm concerned, with Epiphone. I think Epiphone's been really good, but they need to stop with the whole aiming for higher and higher prices with Epiphones. So we'll see. But yeah, I think they really could have come to NAMM and put on a really great show and been like, this is what's coming this year from us. Instead of keeping everything close to their chest and like revealing it officially the day before or the day of it going on sale. I think they really could have blown a lot of people out of the water with announcing things at NAMM, but they obviously have their own reasons for not doing that. And the good sir Muddy H2O has done yet another super chat. And thank you, sir. You keep this channel business alive, so thank you so much for that. So you didn't answer my question, sir, why Gibson sucks. And this, I mean, I don't have time to answer why Gibson sucks because I'd be here all night. We've got another 20 minutes. People want their other comments read out. Why Gibson sucks is because I hate to be personally critical of people, but I think the people who are in charge of Gibson right now are the kind of people who are into luxury brands. Everything. They probably buy luxury brand Gucci fucking toilet paper. And they don't seem to care about the average Joe, the average you and me, and people who maybe will say to each other, hey, I'm going to buy a Gibson because I've always wanted a Gibson or whatever. They don't care about that. They don't care like you might buy one, $2,000 or $3,000 guitar in your life. They don't want you really. You can go and buy like an Epiphone for $1,500. That's made for you. But they really like, and it's like Scott said, they're only going to focus on rich people. They want to be that luxury brand. They want to be considered in with the likes of Porsche and I don't know, Gucci and Hermes and all those things. Like, you know, I believe I don't know if this is true or not. Somebody told me it is, that Hermes decide whether or not you can purchase their products. I think Gibson want to get to that point where they'll decide if you're good enough to sell you a guitar. Or if you're the kind of person they want to sell a guitar to. They would love that power. But they can't be that. And eventually their business will fall apart. Eventually people will get sick enough. They'll stop buying the stupid reissues of like $50,000 for a guitar. Which I just can't ever see how that makes any sense for a reissue. For a brand new guitar. It doesn't make any sense because those guitars don't have any history to them. Why do Gibson suck? There are many reasons. But it comes down to they think they are better than they are. And hopefully that answers your question, sir. And if it doesn't, I don't know what to tell you. There you go. Scott, Muddy says also, finally the truth comes out. It's Dave's fault. NAMM blows now. Hey, what? How did what? That doesn't, no, it's not my fault. I was just there as a spectator. And I had a great time. I don't know what you're talking about. Also, on the Thursday night when I got back to my hotel room, Friday night when I got back to my hotel room, Police Academy 2 was on. It doesn't get any better. Muddy H2O with a super chat again. Thank you, sir. You are supporting 14 children in Africa. It says, sorry, had to step away. Mind repeating that? No. I can't repeat that for legal reasons, but thank you, sir. I do appreciate it. You can watch the replay. It'll be on that on YouTube later tonight. Mark says, I'm sorry you feel that way, Andrew. However, it's not a Gibson / Fender convention. It's disappointing that they didn't see the value attending, but it doesn't mean the event sucked. it's weird in a way, guys, because both sides are valid. It's not Gibson and Fender show, but them not being there takes away from the event. It does. And lots of people, even people who knew they were not going to be there, were disappointed that there was nothing, there was no showing from them at all. Um, Even if like the likes of, I mean, maybe they did, but I didn't see or hear anything about it. But if like Cesar or Agnesi or JC were seen walking around and checking in with other folks, but yeah, there was nothing. There was nothing to show. They sponsored events around both Fender and Gibson and PRS. Sponsored events around NAMM, things that were happening, like the She Rocks Awards and stuff like that. Um, so yeah, they did have a presence in that regard, but they weren't exactly they weren't at the show. Look, in both ways, it was disappointing they weren't there. It did take away from the show because of that. It was still a great show, and a lot of people were there, and it was still very cool to be at, and it was still a lot of fun. So we will see how it goes in future. Hopefully they'll go back to it though. I really do. Think that they will. Benny says, Marsha, I just don't really separate Epi and Gibson in the market contents in the 90s, sure, but not really nowadays. The nature of the market has changed a lot. I agree with you, Benny. Gibson and Epiphone are the same as to me and a lot of people as well. The word Epiphone never came up. It was Gibson because Gibson and Epiphone are seen as the same. Baffing says if REM were there, I'd leave. I didn't see him. I didn't see him, so I think you're good. Glenn says, I'm glad Dave is taking responsibility for NAMM, Muddy. Listen, the one thing I will say is don't be listening to Muddy H2O when he mentions that I did something. He's not a reliable source of my activities. Muddy H2O says, if you didn't go to Collings, I'm not going to be pleased, Muddy. I told you, they had a booth, but there was nobody there. And they had no guitars out. I don't even know why they had a booth or what they were doing. But yeah, they didn't, they weren't open to, I guess, YouTubers going up to them. They had no guitars there. So I don't know what was going on. But they just had an empty booth. And I checked every time I went to NAMM, I checked. Because they were right beside an entrance. And I would go through that entrance every time. But you're going to have to ask him why they didn't see Chord Dave walking around and grab him, pull him into the booth and show him all the cool fancy guitars that they apparently sell. But there you go. Al says, take 2 more shots of Southern Comfort. I mean, I could do that. Ryan says, just from the videos, NAMM didn't look too fun on its own, more like a business presentation, as long as you had a good trip though. So you're right in a lot of ways. There was a lot of people there just for business, but there was a lot of cool stuff going on around a lot of the booths. And honestly, it was hard for me to see a lot of what was going on when we were live streaming and when I was going around with the camera, but which was done after the live streaming. But when you can see, when I was going around with nothing else to focus on, other than, hey, what's happening around each booth, there was a lot of fun stuff, a lot of cool people to talk to, a lot of interesting people to chat with. So yeah, it's one of those where it was a business event. It is a business event where people go to do deals. A lot of people sitting around at tables, like trying to hammer out orders and stuff like that. And that's all they're really interested in. But then you get people who are willing to like do a quick presentation or chat about their guitars and stuff like that. So it was fun because I had a huge interest in the stuff that they were doing. If I wasn't into guitars and stuff, yeah, it wouldn't have been that much fun. And I saw plenty of people who brought their partners with them, their spouses or whoever it was, and they did not look happy to be there. A lot of people bringing their kids as well. It was like, get out of my fucking way. Hey, with your kids. This is not a place to be bringing kids. But there you go. That's a whole other thing. We'll get into at another time. Money H2O with another super chat, sir. Listen, I told you you're not to spend all of your allowance on super chats for this channel. I do appreciate it though. But you should really save some to buy. Buy yourself some ice cream or something. When does the Eastman arrive? Sir, you know me so well. Soon. That's all I'm saying. So I haven't ordered anything yet. The reason being, I'd really like to order from somebody in the EU so I don't have to worry about taxes and stuff. And so far, I haven't found anyone who has one. But I have found a dealer who has Eastman guitars. And I've sent them an email asking them to order one for me. So we will see what they do. However, they seem to be trying to get rid of all their Eastman stuff, so they might not want to sell me or order new stuff. Well, we'll see. What I will say is I went back to the Eastman booth right after we did the live stream at NAMM, and the guitar they had hanging up, I think it was the T64V. It's a beautiful guitar. It's very, very nice. It's like the 335 with the P90s. And very nice guitar, very nice weight, sounds great, plays great, feels great. Everything about it was great. So I will be taking a second look at that one as well. But I still want the 486B. So just waiting to find someone who's going to sell it at a nice price. Also, all the places I had it bookmarked have gone up in price quite a bit. So that's disappointing. So maybe I'll wait for a sale or two to kick in. Scott Brower says, can't swing a dead cat without hitting Phil or a Scott. It's true. There's a lot of Phils and Scotts in the guitar community, and in this one in particular. Andrew Collins says, exactly, I don't want to go to NAMM and see a bunch of no-name guitars. There you go. Mark Doolan says, Panther baby, glad NAMM was cool. Did you buy any new gear? I didn't buy anything at NAMM or in the States while I was there, no. I was quite good, and I came home with more money than I was expecting to come home. I brought a budget with me, and I didn't spend it all, so I was quite happy with that. But it was fun. Muddy says, likely story. I don't recall seeing your face on either of those videos. You need to rewatch them 17 more times, and you'll see both of them. In both of them. Well, maybe not in the live stream, but the other one. Ryan says the Steel Panther guy was actually in Wexford for that. He did. He came to Wexford just to hang out with me for a bit. Muddy H Show with another super chat, sir. That is super kind of you. Says, did you just admit I was right about Eastman? I will never admit you were right about anything, sir. Betty says, Marcia, guitar players can be a stubborn bunch. Yeah. Marcia, Dave also went to NAMM. I'm hoping we get to hear more about that visit. Well, I mean, I think that was probably a while ago when you said that. But yeah, NAMM is cool. It's weird that it's in just a strip mall. There was somebody there. Maybe you're in the live chat right now. I don't know. But there was somebody there who, Lemo, which was like walking around. Was like, hey, you guys okay? Because don't forget, these guys are just doing their job at a guitar store. Michael Lemo's a salesman. He wants to sell guitars. And Lemo walked up was like walking around and was like, hey, you guys okay? And one dude turned around and says, yeah, I want to see something special. Take me out the back. And he just Lemo turned around to him and said, oh, you're one of those NAMM people. So I guess they were kind of inundated that week with people who were there for NAMM, who just wanted to go out the back room and see all the cool stuff. So, which, by the way, they really kind of want to do that for people who are going to buy a guitar, not just for people who are in to see something. But they've got some cool old stuff hanging on the walls too. If you walk around, you'll see some cool stuff. But yeah, it's a cool place. When I was paying for my t-shirts, Norm said, hey, we should buy more t-shirts because we're selling a lot. Thanks, Norm. Yeah, it was good to see. Norm also acts like the Godfather in the store. Like he just sits in a big chair and is the Godfather of the guitar world in that store. And rightly so. When he says, Ryan, correct, a picture could be taken at any time, any place. You guys are weird. Ryan says, West Coast Guitars is a great shop. Used to live down the street from them. There you go. Well, Stephen was a cool guy who the first person to recognize me at NAMM. There you go, which was nice. And Glenn says, can we start a fund to get Dave a cooler beard tie? I mean, yeah, for sure. We'll start a GoFundMe. If we reach $40,000, I will get a new beard tie. I promise. I don't even know where I'd buy such a thing. Muddy H. Joe with yet another $2 super chat. Sir, thank you so much. It says, could you still smell like Nisi's leather at NAMM? Not only at NAMM, outside NAMM, in the smoke shop next door. I don't smoke or go into smoke shops, but I could smell it right next door. At the paint store down the street, at the coffee shop 2 doors down, and all the way down the street at the TJ Maxx as well. I could smell it there because that's probably where he bought it. Um, just making loads of Gibson friends. Richard says maybe if he loosened the beard tie, it would help his throat. They're not connected, as far as I'm aware. But thanks, Richard, for the idea. Mar says, Benny, I totally understand. Some people don't like change. I don't think that people who care are being vocal enough to tell these brands to come back to NAMM and why. I think they're hearing the message that they were missed at NAMM. I think there's a lot of people talking about it at NAMM. But there you go. Al says, how's your experience at Norm's? Hopefully I've just answered that for you, Al. Yeah, the big takeaway was it's just a guitar store, but a cool one. And it's a guitar store / t-shirt store now. And they have quite a range of t-shirts. And also, if you go in there, you got to be prepared to be filmed as well, because there was nobody really exciting there when I went there. But like the Norm was there, and Lemo was there, and what's the guy's name? Sid and Jenny was there, and a couple other people. You recognize everyone from the videos, but yeah, there wasn't, like, they weren't recording Orianthi playing at that time or anything like that. But it was a fun experience. Like, if I lived in LA, I would probably pop out once a month just to check out what's going on. It's a fun guitar store, but it's like just a very small strip mall. It's very weird that it's one of the most famous guitar stores. It's just nestled in this little corner of a pretty shitty town, to be quite honest with you. Apologies to Tarzana. It wasn't an impressive place. But there you go. I went into the coffee shop next door, or 2 doors down, and there was people talking about who worked there, talking about their roommate problems. So so that was fun. That was an interesting like hour before the store opened. Scott said, did the cloners all come out to NAMM this year because they were the cloned were not there? It's a great way to ask that question, Scott. I think they would have been there anyway, because basically, right, everything they had on display was just shy of being an exact replica of something else. But you could see what they were really saying. Like, hey, we can make you anything. And if you spoke to them, they were like, we'll make you any guitar you want. And I did speak to them, and I said, hey, if I want to order a small run of guitars, what is the smallest order? And they were like, maybe 100. I said, okay, what if I want to make a Les Paul Gold Top? We'll make you Les Paul Gold Top. And we put different name on the headstock. Any name you want. And they were like, we can make it any way you want. Any color you want, any finish you want. You want any parts? We can source any parts. I'm like, sure. But I've seen Seymour Duncans that were made in China as well. But they're not real Seymour Duncans. So, but pretty much whatever you want to order, you can order from them in a batch run. And I think there will be a lot of guitar companies will pop up, and that's how they'll get their start, where they will order specific things. And they're not just also like you have to order copies of something that Gibson or Fender or PRS or whoever do. You can give them fresh designs, and they will get them done for you. It'll cost you an extra few hundred, but once the design is in the system, it's in the system. Just expect your design to appear under other brand names as well. But yeah, I think they'll be there next year as well. Phil says, best meal you had at NAMM. Oh, I didn't really, I wasn't really eating super high what do you call it, highbrow meals or anything while I was there. But on the Friday I went to Laguna Beach, which is quite a bit away from Anaheim, but I drove out there and I had breakfast at a place called Active Cultures, and that was really nice. I had breakfast there overlooking the beach, so that was pretty cool. And then I drove back and went to NAMM for the afternoon. I can't really think of a great meal I had. So yeah, that's probably the best. I had a I had a Starbucks coffee each morning, and I had and then I would figure something out in the evenings for dinner, but nothing. I mean, you had like burgers and stuff, so nothing super impressive. It was all on the run, on the go, as quick as I could, because there was always something else to go to. Scott Buckfoot's Sun Slimy, yeah, those ones. Yeah, their sign was wrong. It was supposed to be what, Sunshine or whatever it was. Their sign was wrong, and their bags had it right. I left the bag behind me in the hotel. I'm very distraught about that. But there you go. Money says a clan. I think Dave was working his side gig of making rubber band bracelets and had an accident. Um, yes, well, uh, yeah, those two do cross over from time to time. Marta says, I understand Dave is saying the traditional of having them being there. It is ironic when those brands are steeped in tradition, but it doesn't seem to show the show has zero value without being there. No one's saying that it showed zero value. I'm not saying it. I keep saying it was a great show. It was fun. It was a great experience, but it was missing something. That's how I think a lot of people are viewing it. All right, so rolling on. We're going to have to stop now, guys, at this point, or fairly soon. Like, I'll give it a few minutes and try and get through a few more comments, but I know I'm just gonna have to wrap it up. It's been a quick one, but it is the plan was to stay on for an hour because the throat is not doing too well. So I'll jump back up and see what I've got here. Al says, would you go back again next year? Sorry, I think I missed that one earlier. Yes, yeah, I would. Even if Gibson, Fender, PRS are not there, I would go back. I did enjoy it. I had a better I have a better understanding of how NAMM works, and I think I would do better in terms of my own experience at NAMM. I would like to have somebody with me at NAMM, running around trying to film stuff, trying to get interviews, trying to wait in line with people and stuff like that. It would be much easier if someone else was holding the camera and it was, just it'd be better with someone else to help out with all the production stuff as well. But yeah, it was great, and I would absolutely go again next year. So I'm thinking about January. We will see. Well, it all depends as well on the channel and how the channel is doing. If the channel's worthwhile doing it, like, and that's something that will come into the view. I don't know, maybe after the summer. To how the channel is growing, whether it's still doing well, and whether it's still something I'm putting time into. It's a lot. It's a lot to think about. So we'll see. But yeah, for sure, it was a cool event. I enjoyed it for sure, and I'm sure I'll go to another NAMM show, at least one more. Ryan says, I've already played one, and yeah, it's not terribly impressive. It's overpriced, and the satin finish feels bad, but I still wanted one. But I didn't want to say too much, Ryan. I think the satin finish is a bit of a scam from Gibson, because they've made that guitar in its promotional materials. They haven't made it look like it's satin, when people were only finding that out when they got to pick one up in a guitar store somewhere. Apparently YouTube has inserted more ads, by the way, so apologies if you've gotten ads. This is new. YouTube have never done this before, so thanks, YouTube. So hopefully we'll stick around a couple of minutes just to make sure everyone gets back and see how we got. Let me see. Muddy is Muddy, that is called neglect. You should consult Mr. Bogfoot. I don't know. Let me see. They may be, but he hasn't made me one. The bracelets. I mean, hey, I have made you one, but you didn't accept it when I sent it to you. It's fine, whatever. Do shops like Sweetwater, CME usually have booths too? That I'm not sure, but I know, like, I was very surprised to see Reverb have a booth. Some of my favorite things at NAMM, though, were the Idea Center chats. Were like 30 minutes were set aside for each one, and there was a cool one with Sean Daniels and that's the guy's name, the Samurai guitarist guy, and they were talking about how to be a YouTuber, how to be a guitar space YouTuber. That was fun. I had a very good interest in that, and again, they were thronged when they were off stage from that, but Yeah, that's pretty much some good ideas and stuff. It was an interesting chat. What else before we wrap up was cool at NAMM? And Cream Guitars is an interesting one. I think they're going to come out with some very cool stuff, and what they were showing was really, really nice. So that's one to keep an eye on as well. Um, yeah, Ibanez probably had the biggest, most populated stand, and everyone was excited to be there. Everyone was going through the Ibanez stand, people picking up guitars and being like, "Oh shit, this is $10,000." So yeah, some cool stuff going on there, for sure. Artful Notion says Ibanez question mark. Yeah, Ibanez were there, and they were very popular, and they had some very cool stuff. So I'm sure you've seen all the footage from other channels and stuff. It was fun. They had a really nice booth. And yeah, going back through everything and seeing what they had was cool. Um, what was interesting was Ibanez the only booth where I saw people who were not connected to Ibanez going around showing people what things were and what they did and stuff like that. So it was a real interesting one. Um, Marcia says, Dave, don't strain yourself. You don't have to do a full hour. Well, no, I appreciate it, Marcia. I could stay on for 2 or 3 hours, but I'll pay for it in the morning. I know I will. So yeah, we're going to wrap up now in just a few minutes. But thanks for that. Andrew Collins says exactly. That's why most people go to see the big three. It's true. Badming says, I have to go soon. There soon. Take my Paisley Telly in for a setup. I'm still playing corroded strings. Definitely need to set up then. But I think yeah, for sure. Well, all the best and thanks for dropping into us. Um, Absolutely. Scott or Marcia says, I know Mitch was totally on his A game and in his element on the floor. Some brands rented a dedicated space or hotel room to meet and demo, but I didn't see footage like that this year. There was definitely some of that going on. There's real stuff going on all over Anaheim, but not as much. There's one dude I met was telling me that like you couldn't get a rent a space in Anaheim usually when the NAMM show is on, but last week you could have. There's lots of spaces still open, lots of clubs still had venues available to rent and stuff, and that was unusual, they said. But there you go. Hopefully next year, hopefully in January it'll go back to that sort of thing where it'll just be all music people. Because a lot of the hotels and stuff, a lot of Disney people. I know that was the case where I was staying. A lot of Disney land or Disney World or whatever it is, Disney people were there, and they had a kind of it was weird having a mixed crowd. Usually it's just the NAMM crowd. That's what happened in January apparently. Um, Anyways, Ben says, how was Norm's? Dave, it was cool. It was cool. Uh, Muddy says, it was me. I turned ads on to generate some revenue. Lord knows you haven't been in the past week. You're welcome. I haven't been making revenue in the past week. It's true. But there you go. That's just the life of a YouTuber who has a full-time job and other stuff to do. That is, I'm going to say it, more important than YouTube. But anyway, it was all good. Um, and Scott says, I just got an effing ad. Well, apologies for that, Scott. There is an option to turn on ads on live streams, and I have never turned it on, so maybe YouTube has forced it on. I don't know. They do that sometimes with new features, so I'll look into that this week. Marsh says, silly YouTube, now keep getting pop-up warnings on music that is controversial. Oh God. We don't need that. Hey, it looks like the mug. The t-shirt, it does. Marge says the mug has a righty and lefty on each side. Great value. It does. It's very true. Righty and lefty, indeed. um, all right, guys. I think we're getting to the point where I'm going to have to call it. Robert is here, though. Good morning, Dave. Morning, everyone. Always, as always, whenever you are in the world, wherever you are in the world, hope you are well. Hope you're well, Robert. Glad I cut your comment there. Great to see you, as always. Captain Bufo Elvers says Caesar is a skeezer. Indeed. We got Dennis Ellis is here. Great to see you, Dennis. Good to see you at home in one piece. Yeah, absolutely. It was great. It was a long trip, but it was I'm super glad to be home. It's always good to get home, no matter where you're going. Very true, Dave says Marsha. I've thought the same thing. They're doing some cool things, but they're trying to turn Gibson into something luxurious when it used to be a sweet guitar anyone could attain. James Severan's here. Good to see you, James. Hope you're well. And let me see just if I've missed anybody else. T-Ball, great to see you. T-Ball, haven't been around. Health has been taking a bit of a turn. Well, sorry to hear that, T-Ball. We're glad to see you. We're going to wrap up here now in a minute, though, so I hope you're well. Who else have I missed anyone else? I think that's the gang for tonight. I know I've missed a lot. SB has came in as well. Good to see you. And Victory Crosby, good to see you too. Dropping back in. Miranda, great to see you. Guys, it's super cool to see folks return, so thank you so much. And if you are new, please do return to us again. Usually this is a 2-hour show, but as you can hear, my voice is all effed up, so it's that I'm trying to get back to normal. Nella as well is here. Glad I missed it. Glad to see you survive, NAMM. Well, thanks, Nella. So far, I've survived. We're doing our best with it. Listen, guys, it's been super cool hanging out with you just for a short hour this week. I know it's not the usual stuff, but don't forget, pick up a t-shirt in the lefty or the righty mode, because that helps out the channel. Or a sticker, like get one of those, stick it on your car, your friend's car. I don't know, stick it on your girlfriend. Get a mug, enjoy. Everyone, like, it's not too early to start planning for your Christmas presents for your friends. All of your friends should get a 3 Chord Dave mug. I think they don't want one. Anyways, thank you so much for hanging out with me. It's been super cool. NAMM's been great. I'll make videos with my thoughts and some news and things. We'll get back to that this week, and we'll get running, and everything will be good. If you have any questions or anything about NAMM or norms or anything else, do pop them in. Maybe save them for next week, or you can go to the Facebook group. The link's in the description of all the videos, and leave your comments there. Thank you so much for the guys with the super chats. That really helps out and makes me want to do more live streams. It really does. So thanks a million to you guys who do that. Thanks for all the guys who buy the t-shirts and are trying to make it more popular than the Glory Hole ones, because those are still the most popular ones we've ever had, weirdly enough. But anyway, thanks a million, guys. It's been super cool. I'm gonna go and drink this and then drink some other stuff that's supposed to be good for your throat and not what you're thinking, Muddy. Anyway, I'll be back with another guitar related video very soon, but until then, take care.